Allow me to extend a warm welcome to all the viewers on the internet and around the world. It is sunrise on YouTube, morning on Facebook, noon on Twitter, midday on Threads, afternoon on Twitch, sunset on Instagram, and evening on Rumble. I am your host, the Ancient One, the Bachelor Supreme, the Phantom Menace, he who remains, and the master of the deceptive arts. We are broadcasting live directly from the sanctum of solitude and the citadel at the end of time. Good evening, everyone. I am the Ancient One, the Bachelor Supreme, the Phantom Menace, he who remains the master of the deceptive arts. And I return to you once more to be the proud and aesthetic voice of the vasectomites. So today I wanted to talk about a very negative and bad trait that many of the practitioners of the deceptive arts have, along with the things that we're going to look at that will ruin your life, traits, habits, actions that can ruin your life. But specifically for the practitioners of the deceptive arts, one of the traits that is going to absolutely ruin your life is when you trust people that you are supposed to trust, or you trust people that you should be trusting. Now, I'm talking about people that you've indicated a fondness to and even made a commitment to. These are people like your friends, close friends, your family, people that you grew up with, your neighbors from the neighborhood. And then, of course, the most important person of all is the love of your life. Now, you're technically supposed to show and indicate through not just your words, but also your actions and your behaviors over a certain period of time that you love these people, right? And that you trust these people, right? And for you, that love, the indication of that trust, can be an extension of your love, right? The commitment, the trust, the loyalty that you give to these people who, quite frankly, you shouldn't be trusting at all, your family and friends, is an extension and an indication of the love that you have for them. So that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about trust, and how trust, especially in the people that you love, leads firstly to dependency, and then failure, and then ultimately to your ruin, right? So trusting people lets you believe that you can depend on people that are, independable or undependable, right? People that you cannot depend on them. And they're going to let you down, right? They're going to let you down in a serious way. And sometimes they'll let you down in a way that you won't be able to recover from. And then they'll insult you for that, right? A philosopher is accredited for one saying, Niccolo Machiavelli. I know I mispronounce. Everybody always pronounces Machiavelli's name wrong. But Niccolo Machiavelli is credited for saying or alluding to the notion that it is better for an individual, especially one in leadership or one that seeks to have leadership or power, that it is better for you in that position to be feared rather than to be loved and adored and to be revered by others. Machiavelli surmised that the problem with love is that it puts the control of your fate and your outcomes and your destiny in the hands of other people. So if they feel like loving you today, then you're doing well. If they feel like showing you compassion and kindness and generosity, then you're doing well. Then you'll probably have all the things that you want and need. While fear, on the other hand, is up to you to control. So while you know, should those people feel like they don't love you anymore and they remove their resources, their kindness, their generosity, their knowledge, their skills, their efficacy, their work, right, and capacity to work, they remove that, what you find is that you are in a deficit. Whereas fear, on the other hand, especially if you're a person in leadership, fear you can control. Fear, with fear you determine. So what it is you just turn it on by threats, right? Threats of whatever consequence there may be, and then you turn it on by and you turn it off by showing kindness, giving compliments and praise, right? But you need a tremendous amount of power to be able to use fear. So you know the problem with Machiavelli's hypothesis, right? That's the word I'm searching for in my mind. The problem with his hypothesis is that while it's not incorrect, it's only half correct. It brings you halfway to the outcome that you want, right? But not all the way right. You see, fear, like love, has limited capacity, limited range, limited scope, and limited variety, right? You can only use fear in anger, right? Even if you imply anger, right? And people that invoke genuine fear in people are seen as a danger and as a threat to people's safety and security. This is the problem with fear, is that ultimately people see you as a problem, right? You're a danger, you're a threat. It's one thing, for example, if you are just a powerful individual and you walk into a room and your aura threatens people, right? People will say, "Oh, your spirit bothers me." No, 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 no. You're intimidated, right? I'm coming into the room. You don't know me. All I wanted to do was drink my cup of tea and take down a few notes and do some work, right? But you see me in my management position, in my suit, clean cut, well groomed, well mannered, and that bothers you, right? It bothers you because you are in an inferior position. You look filthy, you look tired, you haven't slept, you spent all night arguing, and you spend every weekend drinking and smoking illicit substances. You're unhealthy, you are frustrated, you lack focus, and you're overweight. Of course, my spirit bothers you. You know, it's my spirit that's the problem. So, when you are a threat to people, right, ultimately it's going to lead to attacks, right? Direct or indirect attacks, right? So direct attack can be physical insults, all kinds of things. But indirect attacks can be people just talking behind your back and insulting you for all kinds of things. But it leads you to being attacked, right? They will attack you just to remove the fear, to remove the thing that intimidates them, to remove the thing that bothers them, so that they can feel I don't know, a level of safety, even though that's not true, right? Even though that's not true, you're not better off or worse just because somebody is here or there, right? And love is almost the same in that it's all dependent on another person's moods and desires, right? A thing that functions exactly the same as that is trust. Love and trust function in almost the same way with this regard. You need the person that you love and that you trust to reciprocate that in a productive way and helpful way for you, right? Thereby, that person is holding your fate, your outcomes, your results in their hands, and it's up to them to decide if they will take the action and make you successful, or do absolutely nothing and change nothing, right? So this is the risk that you are taking by trusting these people. You take a similar risk by not getting your vasectomy, by the way. You take a similar risk by not getting your vasectomy. You are trusting that despite the obvious and inevitable outcome, that outcome won't happen because of the actions of somebody else, right? You you cannot put your safety and your protection and your success in the hands of other people, um, just because you love them, just because you trust them. Trusting that someone will do something for you is really out of the question. Trusting that someone will do anything for you is out of the question. And I'll prove this. Especially if the thing that you are asking that person to do is important, is expensive, or it's difficult, and it can improve your life. Worse if it will improve your life above theirs, right? This is a very big mistake that many practitioners of the deceptive arts make, right? And I've made that mistake too. I've made it thinking in even in when I think back now, I've made this mistake thinking that I could convince a person through charm, through charisma, through some type of manipulation, through winning favor from them, that I could get them to do certain things. And maybe sometimes you can, and maybe sometimes you cannot. But every single time, it depends on them. All your success, all your failure, all your outcomes will depend on other people. And to a certain degree, you even put your risk, your freedom at risk. Many people who are lounging in prisons and in jail cells right now are there because they responded to somebody else, right? Somebody provoked them and they responded. They're literally there because of somebody else, and that person doesn't even think about you. That person is living their lives. They don't even think about you if you're in prison hearing this right now. Your mistake was believing that someone that you love would never risk your freedom. That's a common mistake that men make. That somebody that you love would never put you in a position where you risk your freedom legally, or would never risk your freedom themselves. Like, so they would never do something or say something or go somewhere to someone else, or with someone else, where in the end it puts you in jeopardy to lose your freedom. And there are millions of men in prison who believe that. There are millions of men in prison who were betrayed and stabbed in the back by somebody that they trusted, right? And this problem stems from childhood. It starts really from the moment that you're born, where you are constantly told and reminded, and it is constantly reinforced to you that you should be a person worthy of trust and other people should be the same. So you should be trustworthy, you should be honest, right? And other people should be honest too. And the person that taught you that was a liar themselves, by the way, right? And not only that, then they tell you that you can trust them. But not only can you trust them, you should trust them. And if you don't trust them, they'll make you feel bad. How many times has somebody ever asked you and said, "Oh my God, you don't trust me?" Right? Which now implies that you believe that they are untrustworthy, which is an insult. And then you say, "No, no, no, I do trust you." Then you have to explain why you're not divulging personal information, which is quite frankly because you don't trust them, right? But the issue of trust is a very big one in humanity. And I'm telling you, you shouldn't trust any of these people, especially somebody who tells you that you can trust them. And they train you to trust. They train you to trust, and then they train you to give up trust, and then they train you to be trustworthy, which means you are just wide open and transparent with no secret plans of your own, right? And then they tell you who you can trust. They tell you can trust your parents, you can trust your mom, you can trust your dad, you can trust your immediate family. You should always be able to trust your dad. Your dad will come to you and say, "Son, whatever you need, come to me." Your mom will say the same, "Son, whatever you need, come to me. I'm here for you. I'm here to protect you all the time. I love you. I'm there." Don't trust those people. Don't trust a single thing those people are telling you. Your siblings are the same, but your siblings will stab you in the back. Now, you know you can't trust your siblings, but they'll force you to build a relationship with your siblings in order to try and trust them. I don't trust none of my siblings. I don't trust them at all. And I don't mean it in like a sibling kind of rivalry way. Like, I wouldn't trust those people. If I was doing something illegal, the last people I would tell would be my siblings. Of all the people in the world, no one has told on me more. In worst cases, any person that they've had the opportunity to tell on me, they've taken it. And I have too, by the way, from parents to teachers to headmasters to coaches to gym instructors to security guards at the mall to shop owners, every single person where they have had an opportunity to tell on me whether it was true or false. They would even tell people of what I was thinking of doing, having done nothing wrong. Just thinking about, maybe I should do this, nah, maybe I shouldn't do this. They'd be like, "Well, he's thinking about doing this and this and this." And you're standing there like, why am I trusting this person? Me, I have a sibling relationship with my siblings. Birthdays, Christmas, Easter, anniversaries. That's it. And anniversaries, hit or miss. Christmas, hit or miss. New Year, never. Never. Birthdays, it's kind of forced. Like, if you're doing something on your birthday and I'm in the neighborhood, I feel forced to come. But honestly, I wouldn't. If I was not related to some of these people, I wouldn't have nothing to do with them. The only thing in common we share is DNA and a blood relationship, And these are the people they're telling you to trust. Cousins, uncles, aunts, nieces that are always pregnant, nephews that are always in prison, grandparents that you barely know as people. You know them only as grandma and grandpa. You have no idea what these people have done in their lives. You have no idea what the catastrophe that is their lives are. You are meeting them at an old age when they are exhausted and have no power to do anything. But you have no idea the lives your grandparents lived. And these are the people that they're telling you to trust. And I'm telling you, this is a terrible habit. It is a bad trait, and you need to find a way to change it. Right? They even tell you that you can extend that trust to other members of society, your teachers, your clergy. You can trust the clergy. You can trust your teachers. You can trust your headmaster. You can trust your doctor. Right? All kinds of people they tell you. In fact, the only people they tell you not to trust are strangers. The only people that people will tell you not to trust are strangers. And by the way, those strangers have done nothing to you. The people who have done everything to you are telling you not to trust people who have done nothing to you. People that will walk past you on the street and never walk past you again, even if you live in the same city. Just remember that, right? And while these people are telling you, oh no, you can't trust a stranger, they have demonstrated to you their capacity to disappoint you and betray you and stab you in the back on numerous occasions, time after time after time. Then they give you the worst advice of all, and that is to trust a counterpart, which always ends in disastrous catastrophe and pandemonium. Right? It was your family who told you that you could trust a counterpart because they were gullible enough to trust a counterpart. They were naive and they spread that naivete onto you. And if you are betrayed by that counterpart that they told you you could trust, what they will do is, number one, is they will either blame you for your failed efforts. You know, they say it all the time. Oh, maybe you weren't hitting it right. What? What does that even mean? What does that even mean? They'll tell you, oh, you didn't pay her enough attention. You've been in a relationship with this person, talking to them every single day for years of attention, and they'll tell you, oh, maybe you didn't pay enough attention. They'll just blame you, right? And somehow you will be insufficient, you will be lacking, which is always a lie. Which is always a lie. A man's capacity far exceeds a counterpart, right? By far, right? And then when none of those reasons pan out, what they'll do is they'll just blame you for choosing poorly, right? But it never comes down to the point that you cannot trust a counterpart. And I'll even say it straight: you can't trust a woman at all. Anyone, not your mother, not your sister, not your niece, not your daughter. Definitely you can't trust your daughter, bro. You really cannot be trusting your children at all. They lie to you all the time about everything, these people. And they will lead you down, they will lie to you thinking that they're helping you and lead you down a path of destruction. And when you get there, they told you things were going to be one way. Oh, don't worry, when we get there, it'll be great. And you get there and it's not great, then they'll blame you. Then it'll be an issue of no. The situation is great, but you are the problem for not enjoying the situation. And you're standing there looking at this catastrophe and saying, how is this great? And what they think makes it great is the fact that they put in an effort to achieve catastrophe. And they say, well, I worked very hard, therefore it's great. No. You worked hard, you wasted time, you wasted money, and the outcome was catastrophe. And they'll always blame you for choosing poorly. Either way, you trusted people's advice and then trusted the wrong people to give you advice, right? And you were wrong on both accounts, in both events, right? You trusted the account You trusted wrong people. You trusted those people to give you advice, right? And then you trusted their advice to trust somebody else. And you should never trust anyone to do anything for you. Think about it like this. Think about it like this. The people you are trusting to do things for you, these are people who have taken no meaningful, life changing actions to improve their own existence. Not nothing. Yes, they've tried. I'm going to try to buy a house. I'm going to try to buy a car. I'm going to try and travel. But ultimately, what you see, even those people that travel, right? Let's say you go overseas 1 week, 2 weeks, you come back. Let's say you buy a car once in a while, you move into a nice house. You're only going to move into a nice house once in your life. For most people, this happens once. The rest of the time, you're just going to be renting houses. But you're actually going to own a house like once or twice in your life, right? And 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 these are the people who are telling you, you know, they are telling you what to do with your life, but they haven't done nothing with their lives. What I'm alluding to here by telling you maybe they'll buy a house, buy a car, travel, is that these are highlights, rare events that happen in their lives. These people that you've trusted. For the most part, 99% of their lives are lived in mediocrity. Just remember that. And they haven't been able to take actions and steps to lift them out of mediocrity. They've only been able to get a taste of a better life. I'm going to go travel, stay in a hotel, and come back once every 12 years. The rest of the time, they're sleeping on somebody's couch, you know? And you believe that not only will they take the actions or be able to take the actions, you believe also that they have the capacity to make you successful in your own life when they haven't been able to make themselves successful in their own lives. All you will do is annoy them. And that's how you know people have reached their limits and their capacity. Remember, they begged you for years to come to them when you need help. And eventually, when they get annoyed with giving you the help that they encouraged you to ask for, right? This indicates that they've reached their limit, not only to help, not only to offer help, but their capacity. In other words, you're asking them to not just do something that they don't want to do, you're asking them to do something that they cannot do. And this includes your family and friends. These people will encourage you to ask them for things that they don't have, that things that they cannot get, things that they cannot do, skills that they don't understand. They'll ask you and encourage you to come talk to them about things for which problems that they cannot resolve, right? Then when they reach their limits, when it becomes clear that your capacity, your problem, your needs far reach their ability to produce, to deliver, then they berate you. And they'll berate you for exposing not just their lies, but also their limits, their lack of capacity, and quite frankly, their incompetence. But instead of admitting their smallness, they will deflect and make you seem incapable of doing things for yourself. And I hate everything about these people. I hate everything about people like this. When you spend years saying to people, let me help you, let me help you, let me help you, let me help you. And then eventually they get out of the way and they say, okay, help us, right? I had a family member who, I'll give you an example. I had a family member who really got on my nerve, right? There was one occasion where we were preparing a meal, right? And we were preparing a meal for a fairly large number of people, right? So we had to use ovens and all kinds of things. And soon enough, the dishes start to pile up. This individual walks in the kitchen and says, is there anything I can do? And we say, yeah, wash the dishes. And he walked out. Then he returned again and said, is there anything that I can do? And we said, yes, wash the dishes. And then he walked out. The third time he walked in and I said, hey man, why do you keep doing that? Why do you keep asking us, is there anything that I can do? And then when we tell you what we want you to do, you just walk away. And then what he did was he said, and then instead of just addressing the situation, he starts to laugh and say, oh no, 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 no. You just don't want to wash the dishes because they're piling up. And I put my hand on my head and said, do you not speak English or are you just slow? Like, you cannot understand the words that I'm saying and then turn around and mock me for the words. Do you know what I'm saying? You cannot come in, offer to help me, and then be told where the help is needed, and then mock the people for whom you offered to help after they told you where you can help. I said, you are literally contradicting yourself, right? I said, are you going to do the dishes or not? Right? And he said, yeah, I'm going to do them later. And I said, no. You got to do them now because we need them done right now. And you've had 3 chances to get this done. You could have lightened this load an hour ago, but you waited until it got so bad that people had to address you in a personal way. You know, put down the cup of tea and get to work. Everybody else is at work doing good work. You need to be doing the same. We're not here to labor for you. Never spoke to me again. And I could care less. You know, he's the kind of person who calls me now and I don't even pick up because I know the kind of person he is. You know, he's the kind of person that will invite you to his house and then ask you what you're doing here. You don't need people like that, man. And you have family members that are just like that. The person I'm talking about is a direct close family member of mine for whom I cannot tolerate because of their nonsense. I don't even pick up their phone calls. Like, I'll let it ring and never pick up. There was a time where I would text them back and tell them, oh, no, I'm busy, I can't. Nah, I know I can't talk right now. Can I call you another time? You know, and then I'd have to force myself to call them. Now I just ignore them completely. They don't even bother calling me. And they're right, because I'm like beyond pretense. That's why you need a vasectomy, guys. So you don't have to tolerate these people. You know, you tolerate them because you have a blood relation with them. Get a vasectomy, and then that blood relation means absolutely nothing. All right? These people will put you in a position where you develop a sense of dependency on them to the point where it becomes difficult for you to start accomplishing things by yourself. Because when you do, they'll criticize you for leaving them out. Oh, you know, I didn't know you were starting a business. Why didn't you tell me? I would have loved to join in. No, they wouldn't have. Oh, I didn't know you were applying for college. If you had told me, I would have blah, 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 blah. Right? Oh, I didn't know you were going to be, traveling the world. If I had known, I would have called my friend, the estate agent, the travel agent. They would have given you a huge discount in this and that and that. You call that travel agent, they're going to give you the same pricing that your travel agent gave you. And both of them are right because you should have just went online and planned that trip yourself. Right? But, The advice I can give you is that if you cannot accomplish a task by yourself, you need to hire people to do them, to do that task or to do those tasks, and you need to pay those people. And if you can't afford to pay, then you need to wait until you can. The best thing you can do is just, cultivate your resources, save your money, and pay for the things that you want. Deal with professionals, right? Pay what you can afford. Seek out better prices, do some research. If you are uncertain about the set of circumstances, find out what's up there. But, asking people for favors, asking or trusting people, to do things for you, that's just a terrible habit, right? People are greedy. They love money, and they won't risk their business reputation, their professional reputation by providing a bad service or by employing people and putting people out into the field that are untrained and unprofessional and aren't ready to deal with customers, right? But your family members and your friends, they aren't this, right? Asking them to do something that you should be getting a professional to do is a terribly big mistake. It's a terribly big mistake, right? All you need is to see where their choices have gotten them, and you will see what trusting them will get you, right? Look at where they live or where they choose to live, and ask you, if you had enough money, would you live there? And would you live like that? I'm saying if you had enough money. I'm not even going to put a price on it. I don't care if it's 10 million, 100 million, 20 million. If you had the number that you needed in your mind, say you had $1 billion, if that's your number, would you be living where those people are living? Would you be living the same way as them? Right? Look at how they choose to live, what they eat, where they eat. Look at who they associate with, right? And you'll know everything you need to know. You don't actually have to know a person's thoughts to know a person's thoughts. You'll see their actions and their behaviors at critical times to know what they're thinking. They won't tell you what they're thinking, they'll just act it out in one way or another, right? And you need to trust those actions. Yes, actions have consequences, but you need to trust those actions more than their words, right? Take one look at these people's bank account, and for the most part, you'll never see somebody's bank account, right? If people were walking around with their bank balance on their forehead, you would disqualify them immediately, and that's really what they don't want, right? They'll do anything but show you their bank account. And I'm telling you a million times, don't take financial advice from people whose bank account you've never seen, right? I don't care how successful they are. I don't care what they drive. Let me see that balance sheet. Let me see that debt, right? And don't show me, I have X amount in my bank account, but then you have 10 times as much in debt. That's just as bad. The minute they call in that debt, you're wiped out. You are ultimately wiped out. But, don't trust people you haven't seen their bank account. Ultimately, if you have to ask for a favor, you can expect some or other type of failure at a very high rate and very, very soon. And then they're going to ask you to reciprocate. Right, so you're gonna have to repay that failure. So people will do a favor for you and fail, and then expect you to pay back that favor with success, and only because they made some type of effort. You ever ask someone, like, have you ever seen like a child when the parents ask them to take out the trash? And they get up and they don't really want to do it, and they just grab the bag and they go outside, throw it away, come back and sit down, right? And they didn't put a new bag in the trash, in the trash can, right? This is what it's like asking somebody for a favor. They'll get up and they'll take the thing out, but they won't do it all the way properly, right? They won't put a new bag in the trash can or rinse it out if it needs to be rinsed out. They'll just take the bag, throw it away, and you say, but you didn't finish the job. And they'll say, you told me to take the trash out. You didn't say about all these other things too. When we all know that all those things go along with taking out the trash, right? Cleaning up afterwards, throwing the bag in, zipping the bag up or tying the bag up so it's not loose. Sometimes you have to put the bag in a second bag, tie both bags up, throw the bag outside, come back in, get another bag, put that new bag in the trash can. Sometimes the trash can outside doesn't have a bag, so you gotta put another bag in there outside, put a bag inside, and so on and so forth. It really can happen like that. You spend 20 minutes taking out the trash. And people will say, yeah, I'll help you take out the trash, but they won't do all the things that are necessary to do it properly, right? They don't even do this for themselves. They don't even take out their own trash. Now you're asking them to take out yours and do it properly. You know, if you have to ask somebody for a favor, you can consider that you've already failed. And that's another bad trait that you need to get rid of, asking people for favors. As we read today, in today's edification, I want you to think of how many people have these traits that are going to be discovered and discussed today. And these are traits that can ruin your lives. I mean, it's one thing for you to have these traits, but ask yourself how many people have these traits and how many of those people do you trust and have you trusted to make the right decision for you. Think about that as we go through today's edification. So here it is, today's article, 13 Habits That Will Ruin Your Life. It was written by Holly Burns. It's from New Trader U. I think it's New Trader U or newtraderu.com. It could be either one. And of course, there's the link to the article itself, but we will read it here together. It reads, the ripples we cast in the pond of life come from the pebbles of our daily habits. Oh, I like that. The ripples we cast in the pond of life come from the pebbles of our daily habits. Now, things like this, phrases like this, anecdotes or proverbs like this, they make it all worthwhile. Let's continue. But what if the habits we cultivate diligently work against us, turning ripples into tumultuous waves that undermine our success and happiness? Holly Burns, you are a poet. She's just bringing in the fire, right? All the way from the first few sentences, 2 sentences. We've come from rippling waves to tumultuous ripples to tumultuous waves. She's drawing a picture in our mind. This article sheds light on 13 such damaging habits and offers advice on escaping their detrimental grip. She's got good vocabulary and grammar. Habits, the silent architects of our lives, are our repeated actions subconsciously. That's a good definition. The silent architects of our lives are our repeated actions subconsciously. This is actually true. I define habits as doing the same thing over and over again without thinking about it, which is kind of the same thing. They are born from the brain's desire to save effort. This is true. Habits indicate laziness. Initially, they emerge from conscious decisions, but soon they become automatic. Our habits carve out the path of our lives, influencing our health, productivity, happiness, and ultimately our destiny. Man, she's good. Now, let's dive into the specifics and explore the habits that could sabotage your life. I don't even want to add anything to that because I don't want to ruin it. So, the first thing is procrastination, right? So, I think procrastination is very different from patience because patience is really about conserving a tremendous amount of energy and waiting to release that energy at the same time. It's like saving up for a vasectomy, 2 3 months. By the way, if you're paying cash, $1,550, right? 1,500, 1,550, $1,550. If you need more than 3 months to save that up, you have a problem. You have a serious, serious problem. Like 3 months, that's what, if you're paying cash, 3 months is what you get, right? Any more than that, you're just taking a tremendous risk, and you're delaying, right? But it's like saving up, saving up, saving up, and then when you finally have it, and you lay it down on that urologist table, and you say, "This is what I want," right? That's what patience is, right? That's what patience is. And then you execute at the right moment. Procrastination is just delaying and delaying and delaying until it's not worth doing anymore. A seemingly harmless habit of putting things off until later. Procrastination can lead to a cascade of stress, hastily finished tasks, missed deadlines, and lost opportunities. The key to overcoming procrastination is taking immediate action and breaking large tasks into manageable tasks, and also having the energy to do things. So you gotta be like, getting a lot of sleep. And also open up the space and time management. But you need enough rest. And I don't think people plan rest effectively, right? But you also have to have the ambition to want to do things and achieve things and continue. But you need, to have energy to act. And I find that procrastinators tend to be very low energy. There are days where, I procrastinate to the point where I just don't do the thing that I didn't want to do. And it's usually something like running, right? Running is usually the thing that I'll procrastinate on. Making videos I can do, work I can do, right? It's usually the thing that I really don't want to do. Now, while I run every day, and I'll be the first person to admit I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't like anything about it. I don't enjoy it. I never have. It is, of course, my best, most reliable, most trusted workout, right? And I do it every single day before and above all others, even other things that I enjoy, because it's efficacious and it works. But there are days where I am just truly exhausted. Because you must also remember, I do my running at the end of the day, right? So after I've been to work, after I've made the video, after I've done research, after I have done every single thing, and then when I'm already exhausted, then I'll start running. And usually, when I do procrastinate, which is not every day, like there are days where I will rest and it's not a rest day. That procrastination usually comes like after a long stretch of productivity. So if I'm at the point where I just really don't want to run anymore, it's because I've had like a streak of 36 days, right? And it's also like, not only that the body doesn't want to do it, I just don't have the will. But a day or two of rest and recovery will bring you back up to speed. So I think enough rest can be a cure for procrastination. But if that rest goes beyond a certain time and you still haven't acted, that's just laziness. That's a problem, right? That's a problem. And even if you break things down to smaller chunks, if you just don't want to do the thing, it's going to be problematic. Two, negativity. I don't even know where to start with negativity. I don't even know where to start with negativity. Let me read what Molly says about negativity. Molly Burns. Molly says negativity feeds a toxic cycle. Indeed, it does. It undermines your mood, your perspective, and your expectations. Replace this destructive habit with a more constructive one. Practice gratitude, adopt a positive mindset, and focus on solutions rather than problems. This is all very good and all, but I'm a practitioner of the deceptive arts. Not only have I been fortunate enough to have stumbled upon Sun Tzu and the art of war from a very, very young age. I was very fortunate to have that as sort of a guide and as a hypothesis and philosophy to guide my ideas about how people are and can be. You must remember that the things that are in the art of war, if you can do those to other people, they can do those things to you too. They can use deception, misdirection, um, deviation, right? Stratagem against you too, right? So, knowing this, I've always, well, I won't say always, but I have had a certain level of paranoia and mistrust. I've had moments where I would say, this person is betraying you and misleading you. You need to have an exit in mind. And while I will continue with that person, I always have an exit strategy. I always have an exit strategy. I would be in a complicated situation. I don't care how complicated the situation is, right? I don't care how complicated the situation is. You need an exit strategy for everything. In a way where you say, man, I might to pull this off, I might need to move to Thailand, Saudi Arabia, the United States, Great Britain, Paris, Germany, and then the North Pole for 3 months. And then I'll pull it off. Yeah, you need that strategy. Because if you think you're not going to need to make that trip around the world in order to pull things off, you're going to find out that's exactly what you need to do. And you are going to be so grateful that you thought up that far fetched, hypothetical, impossible strategy. Because when you have to do it, you'll be like, you know what? I know what to do next. I know what to do next. I know what to do next. Because I pulled off a similar thing with the vasectomy. Freezing my sperm, seeing the fertility clinic, meeting up with them, seeing the urologist after getting the sample tested, making this move, making that move, going over here, right? Coming up with a fake disease to explain why I'm here, seeing these doctors making all these moves. All kinds of things, right? And I thought to myself for a moment, I wonder what would happen if I pulled this off. And I thought, it couldn't be. That's a little bit far fetched. It'll be far simpler than that. And that is exactly how it played out. That is exactly how it played out. Negativity, self criticism, judging yourself harshly, being too hard on yourself, I think really comes from an insufficient plan for yourself. If you don't have the right plan, if you don't have the details, if you are not prepared, Sun Tzu says, he will win who prepared himself. Wait to take the enemy unprepared. He will win who knows when to fight and knows when not to fight. Right? If you have this mindset And that paranoia, and always think to yourself, I need an exit strategy. What will my exit strategy entail? A house, a car, a mansion, a yacht, a helicopter, an island, right? A constitution, an army, whatever it is that you're going to need in that exit strategy, you need to have seen it in your mind first. Because when the negativity comes, and it will, Sun Tzu says, do not waste your time praying and hoping that the enemy does not come, but rather prepare yourself so that you are ready to receive him when he does come. Now, as we go through this list, I want you to also think about all the people who who you trust who don't do any of these things, or who do these things. So, for example, procrastination. How many people do you trust that procrastinate all the time? I bet you everybody you trust procrastinates. Or how many people do you know that have negativity in their lives? Number three is one that I know of a lot of people, is a lack of exercise. Now, there are people who I know do exercise and take exercise very seriously, and I still don't trust them, right? I still don't trust them. But you really can't trust a person who doesn't exercise because of number three and number four, and possibly number five as well, which is unhealthy eating and overspending, right? I know people who would exercise regularly, and because of unhealthy eating are still gaining a tremendous amount of weight and will still gain weight. Now, because they have, I believe, the habit of exercise, if they just stopped eating that much, they would soon lose the weight. So that kind of gives me some semblance of hope. And I may have been one of them, in the sense that I have a lifetime of exercise, right? I've always been in sports. From my youngest memory is one of competition and sport, to some degree, successfully or failed. Like I've done some things where I was terrible at them, and I've done other things that I was very, very good at. And then there are things that surprised me, that I had just an inclination for, and I was surprised that I could do them. But even in times like, when you start working, as a young professional, coming out of university, where you worked out all the time and walked everywhere, like even when I had a car at university, I still walked places, right? Just out of choice, because that's like the university life, right? So, and you're walking between classes and buildings and all kinds of things. You really don't realize how many calories you're burning and how lightweight you can be. When you start working, you pretty much just sit stationary for like long sections of the day, just sitting there. And you don't realize how quickly that weight, I mean, you do realize it, but you're really kind of helpless, against it. So what happens is you do kind of put on weight. But if you don't already have like a habit of working out, so you don't know how to train your body, a lack of exercise can become quite habitual. Like it can become you. People can go years and only exercise once, twice a year, and like, and then they'll call that like a fun day or something, and the rest of the time no exercise. And I don't mean like going out and doing activities, I mean like exercising for the sake of working out. Like I'm putting my body through it, right? This is to shape my body and my mind, right? This is to reach a certain capacity of peak. No, no. Most people do not. And when they do, they're not competitive about it. They're not keeping track. Like there's a few things I keep track of. How many kilometers I run, so I want to run the same amount of kilometers. How much I eat, So I don't count the actual calories. I just look at the amount of food there is. So if I ate like a cup of rice one time, I'm gonna try to decrease that to half a cup, right? So I'll be eating half a cup of rice instead of a full cup. That kind of thing. I don't know how much a full cup of rice is. I'm not eating any rice. I'm just eating meat. I don't even eat any fruits and vegetables. It's just meat. But so I'll go from like one chicken breast to half a chicken breast, right? And just, control the quantity like that, right? And on days where I'm really hungry, I'll eat a full chicken breast or something like that. But I'll just control the quantities. I have no idea how calories are measured, and even if those calories are even true. I just know the amount. Eat a lot, gain a lot. Eat a little, gain a little, right? So, and the third thing that so I find that if I just watch those three things, I weigh myself every day. How much do I weigh? How much am I running, which is an hour every day, as long as I'm running that hour, and how much I'm eating, as long as I'm eating half a chicken breast, one chicken breast, there and thereabout, I'll be all right, right? As long as I'm eating a certain number of strips, turkey strips, I'll be okay. I'm not hungry, not starving or anything, but trying to maintain the weight, right? But a lack of exercise is number three. When exercise becomes an afterthought, your body pays the price, and so does your self confidence. Regular physical activity enhances overall health, boosts mood, and improves cognitive function. Indeed, it does. Start small, be consistent, and gradually incorporate more exercise in your daily routine. Yes. You know, if you can just do 30 minutes a day. Now, they say 30 minutes. I don't mean like, look, if you are doing weights, think about what a waste of time weights is, right? You're literally standing there for 30 minutes moving two parts of just two arms, two joints, right? Your elbows. That's all you're moving, just your elbows for 30 minutes. You're not going to accomplish anything. But if you're running for 30 minutes, if you run 30 minutes, I assure you, not a sprint, not a full on sprint, like a slow jog, not even a jog, man, a trot. If you are trotting, just mildly faster than a fast walk, right? Just mildly faster than a stride. A trot, a mild trot, you'll burn 500 calories. For sure, you'll burn 500 calories and you'll get fitter, right? So, like, think of it like a bottle of orange juice, right? With the fibers inside, and you put the orange juice down. That's you sitting down. You're the bottle of orange juice in this metaphor, and we put you down on the table, right? And what we do is when you run, right, not walk, don't walk, man. Walking is such a miserable exercise. What kind of lazy person walks for exercise? No, 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 no. Terrible, man. When you run, it's like picking up that bottle and shaking it up. So all the fibers inside are spread all over the bottle quite evenly, right? And when you drink that juice, it's going to be way more flavorful all the way through. And that's what pretty much happens when you sit down. In my mind, it's like all the fibers sink to the bottom. And then when you stand up and you run, that circulation creates health, right? So, but you don't get that from just moving two parts of your body. You gotta, bend your elbows. You gotta be moving back and forth. You gotta be moving a little bit forward. You gotta be up and down. That's your whole body getting into an exercise. That's one exercise that does it all. So you need to be jogging for exercise. Not sprints. I don't recommend sprinting. It's jogging. You need to be jogging. Not yoga, not nothing, jogging, jogging. There's no cardio. I'm not calling it cardio. I don't care about cardio. You need to be jogging. You need to be running. Running, that's the exercise. Running in a particular way that burns calories without diminishing your energy. Unhealthy eating, oh yes. Fast food, forget about it, right? Nutrition serves as the foundation of our physical health. Unhealthy eating habits can lead to obesity, heart disease, and a host of other health issues. Aim to fuel your body with balanced nutrition, nutritious food. Small changes in your diet can lead to significant improvements over time. I think everybody knows kind of what like really bad and healthy food is. But I think what's gonna probably be worse for you is gonna be overeating. Like there's a certain amount of food that you just shouldn't eat, right? I think honestly, whatever you can carry in two hands, that's what you should be eating, right? I don't mean like with packets, right? So if you can hold a burger with one thing that you can hold in your hands, right? So if you can only hold an apple and a banana with two hands and close your hands, so not two open hands, two closed hands. You close your hands, and whatever you can fit in two closed hands, that's how much you should eat a day, right? I eat far less than that, but I'm saying like for yourself, you should not be eating too much food, right? And then a lot of this food, like, so I mean, you're looking at something like the size of a hamburger. And the problem is now you're going to look at that and think, hey, I should have a hamburger when you shouldn't, right? You should be eating something else. Really, I'm not a dietitian. I'm not a fan of food at all. I mean, I am. I do like to eat like everybody else, but I don't like the concept of eating, right? So I need to get over that, right? Because I need to eat to live. But and I will go to a restaurant from time to time and eat something, right? And it'll feel good to eat that thing, but then I won't eat the next day, right? Because now I got restaurant food and all kinds of things. But unhealthy eating and overeating are going to be very serious problems. Um, I say try to eat as like if you want to look good, like you want to be thin. It's pretty much what I'm saying. Like you don't want to be overweight. You want to be thin. You need to cut out the food. I'm not even gonna like lie about it. Like you need to have an aversion to food. That's what you need to do. That's what's happening to me. I'm starting to develop an aversion to food. To be like every time I see food, I think, okay, I'm just gonna get fat, and I don't want that. So it's really like it's got nothing to do with health. It's got really nothing to do with health. I just don't want to put on the weight. I just don't need those problems. You know what I mean? I don't need all that. So I will happily build up an aversion to food. While people are so passionate about food, I'm just like, no, no. I'm trying something different. I'm moving in a different direction. So I'm eating as like the bare minimum that I can, right? And it bothers me. Like it's getting to a point where it's starting to bother me when I eat too much, which is good, which is what I want, right? Overspending is number five. This is gonna ruin your life. Like exercise, eating healthy, okay, but overspending. By the way, this article is incredible. Overspending, living beyond one's means, paves the road to financial stress and insecurity. She has the words, doesn't she? She really has a gift. Take control of your finances by creating a budget. A budget distinguishing between needs and wants and prioritizing savings. I agree with everything in this statement. Number one, just spending money you don't have is a problem. Let me tell you something, man. Just stay home. There, I said it. Stay home. Stay home. Go on the internet, watch movies, go on YouTube, play games. Just stay home. Just stay home until your savings add up. 2 years of this. You'll be older, you'll be wiser, but you really want to make money and save enough money. You need, number one, you need to stop dating. You need to let go of that. Number two, you need to stay home. So while you're at home, you can exercise at home. So you're not going to the gym either. You're not going to the movies. There's only three places you should be going actually if you want to save money. If I have to be honest, it's work, home, and to the mall. And only to buy the things that you need to survive, groceries and such, cutlery, bedding, those kinds of things. but you shouldn't really be going anywhere else. And even when you go out, like even if you decide, okay, I've been home for too long, let me go out. Where am I going? Go to the mall. The same mall that you go to, walk around and go back home. Right? The mall will be a great place for you to burn some energy. You don't have to spend any money, but come home. Right? Three places: home, mall, home, work. Right? And I say mall, but not really the mall. I mean just the grocery shop in the mall. So you can buy just what you need. Anywhere else you go is going to exhaust your expenses. It's going to destroy your finances. Especially if you like trying to save up, right? And trying to grow financially. 2 years of this, you'll be fine. 2 years of this, you can redirect your finances completely. But otherwise, overspending is just gonna ruin you. You like if you want to save money, you need to minimalize for years. Then get the money, get the lifestyle you want, and then you can proceed with confidence. But you're not going to be able to live lifestyle and save money. You have to save money in order to live lifestyle. And like I said, it only takes 2 years, 2 solid years, not going nowhere. Yes, pay your rent, pay your car, pay your bills, right? But if you have only just enough money for that, then stay home until you have money for more. Right? Don't go anywhere, no parties, no house parties. You're not hosting any parties, you're not hosting anybody. It's just you. And you're socializing, you're not even socializing. This is how far you have to go, right? You need to minimalize all the way down for 2 years. And then after that, like save. But no, you're not just minimalizing, you're saving, right? This is, she says here, prioritize wants. I mean, prioritize savings, right? Not your wants. Prioritize your savings. Save. Minimalize, save, and then grow, right? Don't just minimalize and stay there because that's what people do. They don't understand the purpose of minimalizing. They minimalize and then they stay down. No. You're supposed to be when your lifestyle costs go down, your savings should go up. That's how it's supposed to work. And then when your savings are at a certain level, your lifestyle will meet your savings at the top. But if your lifestyle costs are up, your savings are always going to be down. And that's what the game is. Here at the Vasectomy Life, that's what it's all about. I only talk about savings. People are out there teaching investments, preaching investments. I advocate saving your money, right? Save your money, use your savings to grow. Use your own savings to grow. Yes, it takes time, but this is worth it. Investments, they never come through, man. They never come through. Not the way that you're thinking, but savings are. Savings are true. Savings are always true to the saver. Remember that. Number 6 is substance abuse. Yes, yeah. Abusing alcohol, illicit substances, or any harmful substances can lead to devastating physical and mental health problems. Seek professional help if you are struggling with substance abuse. It's never too late to reclaim control of your life. Not to mention, substances are expensive. This is what they don't really talk about. They talk about the mental health, the emotional aspect, the physical consequences, but they don't tell you how expensive these things are. Guys, drugs are not free. Illicit substances are not free. You pay for that experience, good or bad. You have to pay for that experience. And I mean, as a person myself who's not struggling with these issues, right? I I just looking at the cost, like just the cost of alcohol. I heard there are nightclubs that will charge you $900 for a bottle of alcohol. That's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, you could spend thousands. That's $1,000, man. That's $1,000 right there. You could pay a whole mortgage in one night. And these people party every night. No wonder you're bankrupt. No wonder people are bankrupt. These things are expensive, and they don't last very long. That bottle and those substances are gonna be done that same night in less than an hour. In less than an hour. The more people around, the more you gotta share it with them, and it's done. Right? Then you're gonna need another one. You're gonna need like 3 or 4 by the end of the night. That's for sure. So just remember that. Over and above your health, they're going to destroy your finances. And I think the cost of illicit substances is really the cause of a lot of people's financial problems. And it's something that people don't talk about, right? It's really like like the cost of alcohol and cigarettes. It's really something that is like nobody talks about because of the other dire consequences like cancer, heart disease, obesity, and so forth, right? So the focus is on all those things, but not on the cost. These things are expensive, man. Smokers smoke every day. Drinkers, they don't go the whole week without drinking. There are some people that'll tell you, oh man, I only drink occasionally. Okay, fine. If that's you, that's cool. But there are people who drink every day. There are people who drink every single day. As soon as they get home, they crack one open. Not excessively, as one might think. They might just have one or two, and that's it. Some days they might have one or none at all. But for most of the week, 4 out of 7 days, they have at least one. They have at least one. You pay for that one. You pay for each and every one. And then on the weekend, well, on the weekend, it's nothing but. And you pay for that, you know? And people kind of have this attitude about it as if like fun is free. Fun is not free. Fun is not free, people. Fun is very expensive. And people love having fun. That's why fun is a business. That's why I struggle with fun personally. Because it's always so expensive. Every time I go out having fun, my finances are catastrophic. Every time I've had fun, it has been catastrophic. If there's one thing that I'd like to preach, today I'm going to preach. One thing I preach against is fun, man. Fun is it is the most expensive thing you will ever do in your life. I mean, other than kids, as a bachelor with no kids and whatnot, having a good time, man. I mean, a really good time. It's gonna finish you. It's gonna finish you. This goes right along with overspending. Unhealthy eating is part of that. Substances might be part of that. Overspending is absolutely part of having fun. You know, and to show a capacity to keep going, like having fun is a problem. I don't care what your fun activity is, whether it's a sport or whatever. Just the thing that you do for fun is gonna cost you more. Always gonna cost you more. Just know that. Not setting goals. A life without goals is like sailing a ship without a destination. I like that. A life without goals is like sailing a ship without a destination. Goals provide direction, purpose, and a sense of accomplishment. Begin with small, achievable goals and work up to more challenging ones. I agree also with this list, right? Now, think of all the people that you have who don't really have goals. They have dreams, but they don't have goals, right? I want to be a superstar, but you're not saying what your job is going to be. Do you know what I mean? Are you going to be an actor, an actress? Are you going to be a musician? What instrument are you going to play? What type of songs? No specificity whatsoever. They just have a dream and they're going to be rich, you know? I had dreams as a young man. Oh, I'm going to be rich. And then I had to be specific, right? And then start achieving goals. But yes, you are definitely, absolutely going to need to have some serious goals. You need upward moving goals. You need attainable goals, and you need a time frame, right? To say I'm gonna write my book by this amount of time, even if you don't finish the book, What you'll see when you look at what you've done, you'll see that you've done a tremendous amount of work just by starting, right? I want to, so people will say, I want to get a university degree. What you'll see is they'll do 1 or 2 years, and then it's their third and fourth year, maybe, where they collapse. But you'll see that they've already gone so far, right? People don't give up at the beginning. The smart ones do. Give up at the beginning, save yourself a ton of money. Um, but the worst case scenario is the one who gives up right at the end. You don't want to be that person. And you want to start by achieving goals. You really want to get goals. This is why I'm really against like fun. Fun is expensive, but it comes at the expense of goals, right? It's always like, whenever somebody's having fun, you can be sure they're not doing work, right? You can be sure they're not achieving goals, they're not nailing their tasks. It goes like that, right? It really goes like that. And then of course you pay for that fun. Oh, you're gonna pay so much money for fun. And these things really go together. This list is really well thought out, and I think the one leads to the other and leads to the other and leads to the other, right? Like how overspending and substance abuse really go together with unhealthy eating, which goes with a lack of exercise. This is a really good article. I liked it from the beginning, if I have to be honest with you, and I enjoyed it so much more as I keep reading it. So, another thing that you're doing while you're having fun is not getting any sleep, right? Skimping on sleep, she continues, doesn't increase productivity, it diminishes it. Yes, somebody once said that, oh, staying up all night makes me productive. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. There's no area in life where you not sleeping makes you a better person. It doesn't make you a better entertainer. It doesn't make you a better artist. It doesn't make you a better writer. It doesn't make you it doesn't do anything for you. It doesn't make you a better businessman. It just slows you down in the end. Right? There was a very famous currently, rather, let me say there is a very famous businessman who thought he could get by on 6 hours of sleep and run an enterprise. Like, you can work 16 hours and that's all fine and all, and part of that can be relaxing, talking, because especially if you live like for what you do. Like if you're like me and you're all about that vasectomy, you want to discuss it with other people who want to discuss it, or people who don't want to discuss it, you just want to bring it up all the time. You can sort of do that and still be working the platform. You know what I mean? Without working the platform, because you're talking about something that's an area of interest to you. But you still need 8 hours of sleep, you know. And somebody once said, oh, you can cut off sleep. You cannot cut down sleep. Listen to me very carefully. You want to achieve anything in life, you are going to need to sleep regularly every single day. Just accept it. Took that 24-hour days, cancel 8 hours out of it, right out. The same hours, the same 8 hours every day. Delete those 8 hours. Those are not your 8 hours, right? You only get 16 hours of the day. Adequate sleep enhances mood, memory, and cognitive function. Establish a regular sleep schedule and create a conducive sleep environment to enhance sleep quality. Yeah, you need sleep. There's just no other way about it. There's no situation in life where you are good without any sleep. And anyone that tells you otherwise is ridiculous. Everybody needs sleep. And the counterpart is terrible at sleeping. They'll sleep a little bit and then wake up and then, be sleeping with nightmares. But, that's why they're so moody, because they don't really get good sleep. You need good sleep. Number 9 is chronic lateness. Oh, guys, please don't be late. Please don't be late. Um, do not underestimate how seriously people take time. Do not underestimate how seriously people take schedules and maintaining schedules. I have once underestimated that, right? And I learned very quickly, no, 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 no. There's just no reason to repeat the story. What happened? I barely even know what happened. It wasn't even worth mentioning. But I do remember coming out of an incident many years ago and realizing that I should never, ever, ever be late again. Right? Just be committed to being there, present, early. 5 minutes, 3 minutes, be early. Right? I'm the guy who's waiting outside 1 minute before, right? Because I've been waiting down the hall for 5 minutes. And when that 1 minute arrives, I sort of stumble in as if I just arrived. But no, I've been waiting for a few minutes. People take their time. Rich people, powerful people, successful people take their time very, very seriously. It is more important than money to them. I'm telling you this as a matter of fact because people don't really take the time to give time the value that it deserves, the respect that it deserves. And I'm always talking about time travel, moving up, and talking about what time really is. What you don't want to do is waste another person's time. Now, that is a problem. Your own time is never wasted. Living your life the way you want to live your life, that's perfectly fine. Right? You want to sleep in a little bit on the weekend, you want to stay up a little bit longer on the weekend, that's fine, more or less, but you're still getting the same amount of sleep and you'll be ready for work when it's time for work. But other people's time, you must respect it. You must respect it. When you decide to produce things, books, videos, products, something, beverages, something to eat, you need to have your product ready for when the customer wants it so that they don't waste time. You know what I mean? So that they don't waste time. They just take the product and go. You don't still have to, milk the cow at the back in order for them to get some milk. You gotta have milked that cow already, right? Like you cannot waste other people's time. And you must make a point of just being there, not for yourself, like forget yourself, right? Like if you are going to be seeing other people, you need to be there and not waste their time. Not only just by being late, but you need to be prepared to deliver something. Right? I can't come up here and give you my opinion without giving you something, some content, some context, some material, some anecdote, some idea, something for you to think about. You don't have to agree with me. You don't have to agree with me, but at least there's something there for us to disagree on. Right? You're not leaving with no concept of anything, not even a written word. That's unacceptable. Like, you have to respect people's time, seriously. You're making content, you cannot just come out with content that is unsubstantive. Empty, man. Empty video. Anywhere that I click on the video, it's just, come on, man. Sorry about that onomatopoeia that just came out of me suddenly. Chronic lateness, consistently being late. Oh, I hate people that are consistently late. Once in a while, okay, with a good excuse. Oh, I'm sorry, I just came back from the CEO's office. Oh, okay, he was with the CEO. Of course, you gotta give the CEO all the time, right? That's why he was late. But people that are always late, especially people that are late after your break, no, man. No. Anyway, constantly being late can harm your reputation and strain your relationships. Yes. Strive to be punctual by planning, setting reminders, and allotting extra time to reach your destination. Yes, it's always going to take you longer than you think to travel. Traveling always takes 15 minutes longer than you think. Always, at least 15 minutes longer. That 15 minutes is you walking to the car, settling in, putting on your seat belts, packing the things in the back, or in the front if you have a luxury vehicle, right? And so on and so forth. Getting your music ready, setting up your GPS so you can get. That's 15 minutes. That's 15 minutes, right? Putting your coffee down, whatever you need to do. That's the 15 minutes that I'm talking about. And then the drive to your destination. Then you look at your GPS and it tells you 24 minutes. And you told people you'd be there in 20 minutes. So you're not, right? So add extra 15 minutes of travel. Otherwise, you will be, a few minutes early, right? One thing that I hate doing is rushing. I hate rushing to a destination. I like to walk slowly and stride and take my time. So I hate rushing. This is part of the reason why I'm not doing live. These videos are practically live, right? So I'm speaking as I am, and then as soon as I'm done, I just format it and load it. But I don't do a live because I can't maintain that time. I can sustain a video, but I cannot guarantee that I will be ready at the stroke of midnight every day, right? Because I won't. And again, respect people's time. Respect people's time so people can watch if they choose to whenever they want, right? Um, but yes, man, leave some time for you to arrive. Please respect people's time. I really, really cannot tell you how much that's going to help you. It's not going to boost you. It's not going to like send you into the stratosphere, but it's not going to ruin you. That's the thing. It's like being on time means nothing, changes nothing. But being late destroys you. That's what people are not telling you, right? So being on time isn't really gonna change anything. Like your CEO is not gonna be like, oh yes, I got a group of people that's all on time. He's gonna be like, yeah, that's what I'm paying you for. Let's continue with the work, right? But being late, he's gonna ask himself, why am I paying you? Right? If I ask you to be somewhere and you can't even be there, that's a problem. Like time is a very serious thing. Like you really, really need to not only be on time, but you need to be able to fill up that time with substance, right? When people leave time with you, they need to have something of substance to take with. Poor communication, effective communication lies at the heart of successful relationships. Yes. Listening attentively, expressing yourself clearly, and respecting others' opinions can improve the quality of your interactions. I really have a problem with respecting other people's opinions, I'll be honest with you. However, in person, right, I can do that, right? In person and in a professional environment, I think you may find me quite courteous, quite generous, quite kind also, not just in knowledge but in also wisdom. But I can be quite judgmental in my mind, right? And this is really a consequence of being in leadership for oh so long, right? Eventually what you're looking for is something to fix, right? So it's not that I'm looking down on you, but I'm looking at you thinking, hey, why don't we try this and this so you can improve whatever this problem is, right? And one of the things that I find is people utilizing slang on online platforms, which is great, but is it really the best form of communication? Yes, I mean, you want to use some slang, you want to, say, well, I know I use some slang from time to time. I do too, everyone does, right? In common expression. But you also want to demonstrate some range in your vocabulary. You want to throw in, some words that people aren't readily expecting, right? You want to articulate a higher function of brain activity. You want to activate a higher function of brain activity every once in a while, to demonstrate range. You don't always want to be speaking in the lowest common terms, right? You also want to raise the bar a little bit, and I find some people don't do that. Some people will be shy to be more articulate in their expression. I'm like, why? This is your platform, man. This is your ability to show the best of yourself. So poor communication really isn't just about being loud. It's also about speaking well. It's just something that I think a lot of people should practice more. Like, these are people who have the capacity to do so, right? They really have the capacity of reaching deeper into people, but they choose not to because they're just trying to hold that middle. Man, show your intellect, man. Show your intelligence in your speech. People will appreciate it. Really, your listeners will appreciate seeing that side of you. They always do. Number four, a lack of reading and continuous learning, something that we do not struggle with. In this platform, we read every day. But yes, a stagnant mind can lead to unfulfilled potential. Make a habit of learning something new every day through reading online courses and engaging conversations. This is exactly what I was talking about, right? I come and provide reading material every day for us to discuss, something that you can assess for yourself for its validity, right? And I'm sure I've disagreed with so many things that you are like, no, ancient one, you are the problem here. This is a sensible thing, right? This is a sensible thing, ancient one. You are just looking through the lens of a vasectomite. By the way, freeze your sperm, get a vasectomy. Do that today. 1550, that's our number. It's the best money you'll ever spend, right? Freeze your sperm, get a vasectomy, right? But even as we disagree, there's something to disagree on. There's something to think about. There's something to ponder, right? And usually it's really not related to work. This isn't really what I do for work. But these are subjects where I can utilize a particular type of skill set that I have. And we can discuss things that I think would be interesting in a general capacity. Yes, it's more specific, right? Because we have to look at each one for in and of itself, what it is in and of itself. But even in that analysis, there's reading, there's learning, there's growing. We are constantly updating our synapses, right, to accommodate new information. Reading is exercise for your brain, right? Reading is exercise for your brain, and writing, not typing, writing is productive, right? So it's a productive exercise, right? Reading is receptive, so you receive information, it's a certain type of activity. But writing, and I suggest that everyone writes something every day. Write whatever your thoughts are. I write what I'm going to say on the video, what I discuss on the videos. So I'm not just always talking off the top of my head, but these are my thoughts. I've just collected them in a meaningful way so that I can discuss them here. So I suggest not only reading and writing, both these are exercises for your brain. On the one hand, you will have a tremendous volume of information that you've written straight from your brain. So if you're writing every single day, as I do, all the things that I discuss in the video, in the end, I'm going to have tremendous many volumes and manuscripts that I can read, then retype and publish and sell, right? So if you're writing everything that you're discussing, writing everything that you think, one, it helps to collect your thoughts. Two, it's exercise for your brain, as is reading. But three, something remains. Something remains from your thoughts that you can then trade later on. Right? So exercising, consider it just exercise for your brain. Reading, I beg your pardon, it's just exercise for your brain. Sometimes I go through so many words, the words get jumbled up in my mind, and I just end up using the simplest word that I have, like jumble, right? Where was I? Make a habit of learning something new every day. I think I read this through reading online courses and engaging conversations, right? Yeah, just find something. Or just come here. Just come here on the platform and we'll read something together. Lack of empathy. Empathy, the ability to understand and share the feelings of others, foster connections, and build trust. Yes, putting yourself in somebody else's shoes. That's empathy. Sympathy is feeling bad for somebody when something bad happens to them. Empathy is like thinking, I wonder what it'd be like if I was like that person, right? Usually it's associated with a bad activity, but it can also be associated with a good one. But when it's good, good empathy is called living vicariously through somebody else, right? But when it's negative, it's the connotation and the association is with negativity when you talk about empathy. But yes, I struggle with this, a lack of empathy. Really, I'm not a very sympathetic person or empathetic in terms of like, I really don't want to put myself in other people's shoes, especially people that are suffering. Now, I'll happily put myself in the shoes of people that I deem to be successful, but I have no empathy and sympathy for these knee benders and these counterparts, especially those of you that didn't want to go get your vasectomy and said, oh, the ancient one, he wants us to all go freeze our sperm and get a vasectomy. Now, we're not doing that. We're going to rebel. We're going to do it the traditional way. And now you got 18 years of child support. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to feel sorry for you. I'm going to feel sorry for the kids. I'll feel sorry for the kids because they have to live with your decisions. But you, I'm not feeling nothing for you. And I don't want to be in your shoes. No, 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 no. I don't want to be in child support. Not the ancient one. I will not bend the knee. I will not bend the knee. The Bachelor Supreme does not bend the knee. Never have, never will. Stay true, follow through. It says here, practice empathy by actively listening to others and seeing situations from their perspective. Yes. Just if you want to show sort of understanding, you have to be attentive to people. So you have to listen to what they're saying and ask questions, right? So if people say they went somewhere, you have to ask them, oh, how was it? What activities did you do? Did you go to the beach? You have to want to know, did you stay at the hotel? What kind of hotel? What was it? How was the showers? Was there any hot water? Right? How was the room service? Was the restaurants? How was the food? Tell me about the food. Did you go on any rides? Oh, you went on an island. Did you climb on a boat? Did you ride a plane? Did you drive a bus? Right? Were you stuck in traffic? Did it rain? Was it windy? You want to ask all these things, and people will feel like, okay, I feel understood. Right? I feel understood. I can have a problem with this. I can have a situation where I am like, why don't you have something to say? Why aren't you coming here prepared to say, I went on vacations and these are the top 10 things that I enjoyed? I recommend this, and I recommend this for you. I think you might like this, I think you might like that. Does everybody have all the information? Okay, let's get back to work. This is concise, this is organized, but no, I need to come and pull that information out of you. I need to be talking about all the different types of categories. Oh, did they have a live band? Did you like the music? Oh, they played international music. Oh, no local songs. Oh, okay. What? You should be ready with all that information, shouldn't you? You're the one that went on vacation. How am I supposed to know? How am I supposed to know how it was in the Philippines? You were supposed to come tell me how the Philippines was. But no, I gotta find out from you. Oh, okay, what language do they speak? Oh, what's the currency exchange? Oh, rainy season. Oh, monsoon season. Oh, okay. What's the national dish? What's the population? What's the capital city? What's the nightlife? You know, come on, man. You should have all that information, shouldn't you? It was your vacation, right? This is why I struggle with empathy. This is why I struggle with empathy. I know, you're tired. You just came from a vacation. You need a holiday after a holiday. The last thing you want to do is give a detailed report and be debriefed. But, maybe this is why I'm single. I'm debriefing people on vacations. Let's continue with confidence. And number 13, ignoring mental health. It says neglecting mental health can have serious consequences. Yes. I I don't know if she means this the way that I see it, But I think ignoring mental health in other people can have devastating consequences. If you see a person who's not what you would consider, altogether there, and you take chances with somebody who admits that they have concerns and issues, and you take chances, devastation, devastation. You may very well find yourself in prison, right? Very very soon, and not even understand what's going on. She could have multiple personalities. Yeah. Incorporate self care into your daily routine. Seek professional help and never feel ashamed about prioritizing your mental well being. Oh, she's talking about my mental well being. I thought you were talking about your mental well being. Yes. Guys, if you're not feeling well, right, you need to prioritize your solitude, right? You need, it's difficult because I know a lot of people are already in relationships and married and that kind of thing. So my message really is going to be tailored to younger men, bachelors, guys that are still single, trying to figure this thing out, trying to decide if they should remain or bend the knee, right? Me, I remained he who remains, right? I did not bend the knee. But in truth, a lot of people struggle with being by themselves because they don't want to be by themselves. So, if you're one such person who's struggling to be by yourself because you don't want to be by yourself, like I said, I'm not really one for empathy. So I'm not here to fix your problem. What I can tell you is that one day you're going to wish you had appreciated this time. You know, you're going to be in the dark dimension, wife, kids, bills, responsibilities, obligations, with no way out. And you're going to miss the days when you could just be by yourself and ponder your own thoughts. I would say, it's time for you to build a spirit of gratitude for the freedom that you do have, provided by the solitude and the bachelor life, rather than for you to go seeking things for which you are not ready, right? I mean, are you ready to buy a new house and a new car for a new baby? Start brand new, Some of you aren't even ready for the thing that you're looking for. You haven't faced this in a realistic way. I did. I sat down and asked myself, and I said to myself, I said, Ancient One, do you really want to be a father? And I ask people this question all the time. Do you really want to be a father? There's many men that say yes, they want to be a father, but they don't want to do the things of a father. They don't want to go through the pain, the struggle, the tears, the betrayal, the hurt that fathers go through, the misery, the bills, the costs, right? The emergencies, you know, the boyfriends from out of town, the girls' nights out, all that. That's what you're signing up for. But you're no, no, no. You don't want that. You want all the other stuff that isn't the bad stuff. And I'm asking you, do you want the bad stuff? Because if you don't want the bad stuff, then you don't want it at all. Do you know what I'm saying? If you want to be CEO, you don't want to work a 16-hour days, you don't want to be CEO. You want to be a content creator, not put out content every single day. You don't want to be a content creator, man. You don't want to do the thing that's required to do the thing, then you don't want to do the thing. So if you want the good without the bad, then you don't want to be a dad. That's the truth, man. If you want the good without the bad, then you're not ready to be a dad. You know? But you guys just want the good stuff and you think, well, I'm missing out on the good stuff. I'm here being all by myself while there's a guy out there playing with these kids. He hasn't played with these kids in years. He's doing overtime on a Saturday night. And he's been at work since 4 in the morning. You're not playing with kids here, man. These kids got bills. You don't want that? Then you don't need those problems, man. So if you're feeling ungrateful or you're feeling sad about being alone, I'm gonna ask you to really Look at the situation. Look at that house. Add up every single item in that house, every single scrap of paper, every single dish, every pot, every pan, every piece of cutlery, and just work out how much it costs. If you don't have that number, then you can't afford to be a dad. It says, while this list of life ruining habits may seem daunting, remember, the brain is malleable and habits can change. Neuroplasticity suggests that our brain constantly evolve, shaped by our thoughts, behaviors, and experience. I agree with this. I just call it updating my synapses, right? So I'm always receiving new information, and sometimes I can get a bit of a headache. My brain is always processing something new from the reading, processing something new from the reading. After these videos, sometimes, well, I'll chill for a little bit. But there are times when, I realize, oh, we've been reading for an hour, you know, uh, can feel a little bit tired, can feel a little bit tired. And we've been reading new information. I'm always trying to add new information, new information, and update, and our brains can absolutely accommodate this, by the way. And later you can recall this information with relative ease because we've also discussed it. It's called neuroplasticity, right? And we are updating ourselves. Changing habits isn't a matter of grand gestures, but small, consistent actions. Yes. So every day we got to do a little bit, a little bit, a little bit. And then in no time at all, we're 100 videos in. Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither is a good habit. Good habits can start in a day, but you gotta have consistently, right? Consistency. Countless stories of transformation pepper human history. Uh, Individuals who overcame destructive habits and reinvented themselves. These narratives should give you hope. Yeah, I don't know about all that hope. That you too can redirect the course of your life. I think that your habits should be built on necessity. If you need something, you need to make it a habit. If you need a job, going to work every day, you need to make that a habit. You need to exercise, you got to stay fit, you got to make that a habit, right? So you don't need, so habits aren't always necessarily bad, but it is associated with negativity, right? There's a connotation there. But habits can also be very, very good, right? And you can change bad habits and replace them with good ones, right? Or you can improve a set of circumstances as time goes. One thing that you want to keep doing, which is what we do here so very well on this platform, you want to just research topics of human interest and keep updating yourself. Whatever your interests are, right? Just keep updating yourself, see what information is there. Most of the information will be repetitive, but every once in a while you'll get one piece of information that you can update, or a nuanced perspective that you can add. Like, I'll give you an example. I use the word vasectomite. There was, when I was researching the history of a vasectomy, there was, somebody used the word vasectomist, right? And I'm taking that, vasectomist, right? The vasectomists, the vasectomites. I'm all in there. I'm taking that. I'm taking that word. I'm not leaving that. We can be both vasectomists and vasectomized, right? We can do both. And we can vasectomize should we choose, right? I mean, we've just begun to scratch the surface of this discussion, and we'll be having it for a long, 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 long time, if I can do anything about it, right? But I believe that yes, you can change your life. You can change your life. You can freeze your sperm and get a vasectomy. Knowledge and information is all good and all, but it's only good in that it helps you to know what is true, what is real, what is possible, what can you achieve, right? In right now, what can you achieve for? What can you leave for a later achievement, right? Knowledge is very valuable, but so is wisdom. Knowledge is knowing what you can do. Wisdom is knowing what you shouldn't do, right? risking being a father when you don't have to, when you know you shouldn't, that's that's a lack of wisdom. Getting a vasectomy, that's knowing what you should do, right? So I say go freeze your sperm and get a vasectomy. If you change your mind, you still want to be a father, you have 100 million sperm available that you can choose from. I'm sure you'll do just fine. I'm sure you'll do just fine. But you want to avoid accidents, you want to avoid mistakes, do the right thing. Protect yourself and protect your seed. Let's conclude by saying your habits can be your greatest allies or a or your fiercest enemy. I like that. Your habits can be your greatest allies or your fiercest enemy. The power to choose and change your habits rests with you. Take the time today to evaluate your habits, discard the ones holding you back, and cultivate those that propel you towards success. I like that. Take time today to evaluate, think about what your habits are, the good ones, the bad ones. Let go of the ones that are holding you back, including that unfettered, unlimited trust for the people that you should be trusting. Don't trust anyone, right? And then cultivate, build up, and increase those that propel you towards success. As Lao Tzu wisely said, watch your habits, they become your character. Watch your character, it becomes your destiny. That's lovely. Watch your habits, they become your character. Watch your character, it becomes your destiny. Start shaping your destiny today. Your future self will thank you. What a glorious article. I really enjoyed reading that. That was very insightful with this information. And I'm going to end it right there. I think I've given plenty of commentary on these issues, on these topics, but I really did enjoy reading it, and I hope you enjoyed it too. Um, oh, yes, before I forget, I'm trying a new outro or conclusion. Please remember to like the video if you've enjoyed it. Share it with your friends so that they can enjoy it too. Please leave a comment to remain part of the conversation. I'd like to take the time to thank you for your time and your attention. I appreciate it, and I always will. I am the Ancient One, the Bachelor Supreme, and I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful day.